Hello students, today we will study about heredity and evolution. This is our ninth chapter of biology. So let us study about the term characters and traits. A recognizable feature of human being like their height, complexion, shape of nose, chin, color of their eyes, hair color. These are all are termed as characters. The characters are to be transmitted from parents to their offsprings. The heredity information is present in the form of gametes of their parents. Thus, the gametes constitute the link between the one generation and the another generation, and these characters are passed on from parents to their offsprings. Variations. What are variations? While passing on these characters, there are certain changes or the differences that are seen in the characters of an individual or among the individuals of a species. These are termed as variations. There are many kind of variations in the human species, like we have here the example of free and the attached ear lobes. Here we have the example of attached ear lobe, and these are the free ear lobes. So next we have the color of the eyes. Some individuals have brown color eyes, some have blue color, and some have, usually most of the organisms have black color eyes. Now the height, some are tall, some are dwarf. The shape of the chin may be pointed and cleft, and some have the color, the color of the hairs in some individuals are black, some are brown and red. So these are the certain variations which can be seen in organisms. Now, how variations accumulate during this inheritance? The significance of variations that it shows up only if it continues to be inherited by the individual, by the offsprings for next generations. The great advantage of variations to a species that it increases the chances of its survival in a changing environment. Now, there are certain important terms related to the chapter heredity. We have a term chromosome. Chromosome is a thread-like structure. These are the fine thread-like structures which are present in the nucleus. These are fine thread-like structure which are present in the nucleus. So these are the chromosomes. We have the chromosomes. These are present in the nucleus. Now, which carries the genetic information in the form of genes. Gene, then we have it as a unit of the DNA on the chromosome, which governs the synthesis of one protein that controls a specific character or a trait. So genes are the unit of inheritance, which transfers the character from one generation to another generation during reproduction. Now we have two type of genes, dominant gene and recessive gene. The dominant genes are defined as a gene which decides the appearance of an organism even in the presence of an alternative contrasting trait. It is represented by capital letter or capital K. Suppose we have the capital T. And the recessive genes are the genes which decide the appearance of an organism only in the presence of another identical gene, that is recessive gene. These are supposed to be suppressed or are not expressed. They are represented by small case or small letters. Suppose we have small t here. Genotype. Genotype is defined as a total number of genes. It is a total genetic makeup of an organism. Then we have a term phenotype. Phenotype is a external morphology of an organism, external appearance. Then we have first filial generation, F1 generation. When two parents are crossed together, then they produce offsprings, and these offsprings are called F1 generation. Second filial generation, when the first filial generation cross among themselves to produce the second generation, this is said to be second filial generation. Now we have the experiment, Mendel's experiment related with this genetics. As genetics, the father of genetics is the George John Mendel. He was the first scientist to make the systematic study of the patterns of inheritance, which are involved in the transfer of characters from parents to offsprings. Mendel chose garden pea, that is Pisum sativum, as an experimental organism. The scientific name of this garden pea is Pisum sativum. He chose this Pisum sativum as a experimental organism. Why he chose this experimental organism? Because it is a bisexual plant and it can be perennial and annual plant, it produces the flowers in large number. So due to these characters, he firstly crossed the tall and the dwarf plants. Some plants he found are round and yellow, and some are wrinkled green. Another reason of choosing this, that they are able to self-pollinate and also cross-pollinate. Also, Mendel chose the pea plants because many generations of the pea plants can be produced compatibly in very short lifespan. The lifespan of this plant is very short. We can produce large number of generations. Now, law of segregation. There are certain laws given by Mendel. The very first is the law of segregation. Mendel's first law states that the characters of an organism are determined by the internal factors which occur in pair. Suppose we have capital T and small t. So in this we have, if we have capital T, if we have here capital T, that is from first parent, and we have the small t from the another parent, then what will be there? It will produce capital T gamete, it will produce small t gamete. And what will be the F1? That will be the capital T and small t. So this F1 will be the first filial generation. So there is a segregation of gametes. Now what is the law of independent assortment? The second law states that there are inheritance of more than one pair of trait or a character in a cross simultaneously. That means, firstly, he studied in a monohybrid cross. He took tall and a dwarf plant. But in his second experiment, he chose round and wrinkled. Round and wrinkled. Round and wrinkled seed. He crossed round and wrinkled seeds with the round yellow with the wrinkled green. He chose round yellow seeds with wrinkled green. He choose round yellow seeds with wrinkled green. Round yellow and wrinkled green. Round and wrinkled green. Round yellow and wrinkled green. So what did he found? And he represent this as capital R. He represent this as capital R, capital Y, and small r, small y. So from here the gametes will be capital R, capital Y, the gametes will be small r, small y. On the hybridization we have capital R, capital Y, small r, small y. Okay, or we can write it like this: capital R, capital Y, small y. Okay, so this is the dihybrid cross, and in this, when this cross states that there is inheritance of more than one pair of traits in a cross simultaneously, and the factors are irresponsible. They independently inherit. The gametes are produced independently and the characters are inherited independently. We have the transmission of characters. The characters are transmitted to the offsprings through the genes present on the chromosomes during the sexual reproduction, and the genes work in pair. Each trait there is a pair of genes, one is dominant and another one is recessive. Though the offsprings inherit two genes for a trait from a parent, but it is shown by it depends on the inherited gene, either it is dominant or recessive. So in that hybrid cross we'll get the ratio, that is 9:3:1, and we'll get the four combinations. Here we have the four combinations and the ratio will be 9:3:1. In this cross the ratio will be 9:3:3:1. But in case of monohybrid cross, we have the ratio will be, in the monohybrid cross the ratio will be if we have the cross between the capital T and small t, that is tall and the dwarf plant, the ratio will be capital T small t. On selfing, this plant will have four type of plants and the ratio will be 1:3, or we can say 3:1. The ratio will be 3:1. Here the ratio will be 3:1. The three plants are tall and one is dwarf, but in dihybrid the ratio will be 9:3:1. The next we have sex determination. It's also a very important topic. The process by which the sex of the person can be determined is termed as a sex determination. As you know that in case of male we have the XY are the sex chromosomes. Out of the we have 22 pairs of photosome and one is a sex chromosome. One pair is of sex chromosome. In case of female, the sex chromosome is homozygous, that means it is similar XX. it is represented by XX. So if we have the male partner, that is XY, and the female partner having XX, the gametes produced here will be XY, but in case of this, the gametes produced will be similar. So when this X fuses with this X, it will result in the formation of XX, and when this I fuses with the X, then the resultant will be XY. So we have the 50% probability of a girl child and 50% of a boy child. So here we have, if a sperm carrying X chromosome fuses with the ovum, then the child will be a girl. If a sperm carrying Y chromosome fuses with the ovum, then the child will be a boy child. So it is the sperm that will decide the sex of the child, either it is a male or a female child. So here sex determination depends, sex is determined by the who is responsible for the sex, that is a male is responsible for the sex. Now in the last we have the acquired and the inherited traits. The traits which are inherited from parents to offsprings are inherited trait which are inherited, these are inherited traits that are caused by any change in its DNA are inherited. For example, we have eye color, skin complexion, and the traits which are not inherited and develops due to any environmental change, that is termed as acquired trait. For example, that doesn't comes from the birth. For example, knowledge or swimming or cycling, these are termed as a acquired trait. So that's all about heredity.